Hello, welcome to my podcast. Today I'm doing a sequel, I suppose, to the one on narcissists, if your friend's a narcissist, which is about control. Because narcissists will have a controlling nature. They want to control you, they want everything their own way. They can be control freaks. But you can also have people who are your friends who are controlling. And they might have narcissistic traits or not. So let's start with a narcissistic controller. Controllers and narcissism seems to go together. They will be people and friends who will want to divert your plans, change it, probably nag you quite a lot about things. If they want you to do something, they just keep at you and they just won't give up. And they also want to control all their own stuff. So they just want it their way. You want to go to that restaurant, you'll end up at another restaurant. You want to go to that movie, you won't be watching that movie now, you'll be watching the movie they want. They'll actually also do little sulks. If they don't get their control, you'll find out with them. They'll sulk, be all hissy with you and like that, and often offload it back on you. And I want you to have a look at that. Because if you're a really kind, nice person, you might be attracting controllers, and they'll come in a narcissistic form or narcissistic traits. I haven't really found in my life a lot of people who were controlling and not narcissistic, which I thought was interesting. I'm sure there must be some controllers who aren't narcissistic, but I haven't met any yet. And I want you to start having a look at all your friends. And if you have lost some friends who are controllers, it's because you'll be fine with them in the friendship until you don't do what they want. As soon as you start picking up your own power and you say no to things or won't do it, they will often just give you the cold treatment. They'll punish you. They won't answer your texts. They will badmouth you to other people because they can't control you anymore. And often the relationship does break down. I just don't want you to be hard on yourself because it's not your fault. Because we're not here to control other people. We're here to love other people. We're here to help other people, give advice, and then let them make up their own decisions. That's what we're here to do in a relationship. And a love relationship is a friendship. It's supposed to be that you love the person and you want what's best for them, but you need to let them live their life. And if it all goes bad, then you just be there. For example, you might have a friend who's got the loser boyfriend or girlfriend, and you've talked about it quite a lot probably, but at the end of the day you still be their friend because you don't want to control, because there might be a reason they're with that person and it might be something they have to both learn. And if it all goes pear-shaped, you can be there and still be their friend and not say, I told you so. Now, control is very, very obvious usually. It's something you'll notice at the beginning. They don't do it very much. But after they get you sort of under their spell, you'll notice they're much more controlling. They'll also try to control your friendship groups, who you see and who you don't. And they can do that, I call overtly, which is they tell you, I hate her, I think she's bad. Or they can do it covert. Why are you with her? She doesn't seem like your type of person. They have all these ways of actually getting you to get rid of friends. Controllers are quite territorial. They allow to have a million friends and just cancel on you, but you're supposed to always be there kind of waiting for them. So I think in my life, I attracted a lot of controllers. If you've got a family dynamic that you grew up with a very controlling mother or father or in a controlling house, you're actually going to come two ways. You're either going to become a controller yourself to get the power back on some level, or you will just give control to other people easily, because you had to do that to survive as a child or a teenager. But now you're grown up, you can work out who you want to be and who you don't want to be with. I don't think control friends are very good friends because they're not coming from love, they're always coming from power and control. And they will also be quite self-interested because they want it their way. And their way isn't always the best way. Just remember that. Just because they think that's a good idea or whatever. And they might be more nasty too. I found they were a little bit more nasty and vengeful, so they might want to get back at people or make you want to do things you don't want to do, or say mean things or write emails back to people. They'll come from that angry ant perception, I think. So they can make you try to do things you don't want to do, which isn't good for you, because in a friendship the other person is there to support and love you and not boss you around. And they're very bossy. That's the one thing. Narcissistic controllers are really bossy. Now, if they're not going to be bossy on the outside with you, they'll do it in another subtle way, and I want you to see this one. It took me a while to get this one. They'll just kind of erode what you want to do. So maybe you want to go to painting classes. So then they go, why would you want to do that? You don't have many autistic people in your family. They just do this kind of thing. They'll diminish what you want, or you want to move to another state or something. Oh, I don't think it's a very good place to live, and you probably not get a job. They'll always give you like a negative response if it's not what they want as part of the relationship. If you want to stay with your controllers, the way I've done it is I just let them control everything that to me is useless and I don't care about. And then when it comes to some big stuff that I do care about, I just pull in and dig my heels in and go no. But you don't have to say no to everything. I just let them have the control. Like, I don't care if we butter the bread to the edge, or, if we keep the car full because, it's on special now and you have to run down. I don't care about those things. And you might be like me. These things are not important to me. But you're not going to control something that is important. For example, if I wanted to see my son on Christmas Day and the other family were already seeing him, I can pull up my mum card and go, hey, no, you need to come and see me as well. So it's only things that I think are important. And I feel that you don't get in their web of control, because they also like to get you in there because it's like a power thing. The other thing you might want to think about doing is holding back on the information. Controllers like to know everything, and they often like to badmouth or gossip as well. If you don't give them everything, if you don't tell them everything, and you're entitled to do that, it's your private life, you have your little private area, then they can't give you a hard time about it, but then they also can't spread it around, because I'm not sure if controllers are very good at keeping quiet about things. It's important for you to see these friends and see what they're doing. You can still stay with them, you really can, but you have to manage it differently. And I found the best way was not to put yourself in a position where they can withhold from you. For example, you might want them to do something for you or get something for you or find out something for you, and then they don't do it. It's a control thing. For example, they're at the shop and you ask them, can you, buy me the special chocolate? And they want to control it. They don't want you to have chocolate, so they don't bring it home. And then they say they forgot. They're manipulative. You have to be manipulative to control other people. The only person you've got to worry about is yourself and making yourself a better person. We're not here to tell other people how to behave. We can give suggestions when people want it, but then at the end of the day, they do what they want. And that's actually free will, which exists down here. When you're with controllers, you have to decide how much you can take. I've actually walked away from some relationships. It just got too invasive. They were trying to control my marriage. They're trying to control what I did with my kids, my work, what I did here, what I did there, what I wore. And I was like, no, I've had enough now. And I actually just left the relationship because they weren't coming from love. It was all about control. And they're very naggy. And they always like want to find out, did you do that? And did you ring them? And there's all this upkeep with them. There's a lot of upkeep. And I actually walked away. And I don't think my life was worse. I did love these people, but they were really unhealthy. And I'd come out of being controlled. I had a very controlled, abusive childhood. So I didn't want to do that again. I want to choose friends who are loving and kind and tolerant. And there's not a lot of tolerance with controllers. They don't tolerate. Listen to how they speak about other people. They don't have any tolerance for other people or their choices or religion or foods or work or how they run their relationship, look after their kids. They're like the encyclopedia of, I know everything that's right. And that's the other thing. Controllers are always right. They always want to be right. And they will actually argue a point where you could Google them and show them that they're wrong, and they will still stick with it because they always want to be right. Decide what you want to do if you want to stay with them, but maintain your, not control, but your sense of personal power, and don't bend on things you don't want to bend on if you want to stay with them. If they get rid of you, I think it's a good thing because they'll just go and hurt someone else and give someone else a hard time. And just remember that they will often punish you. The silent treatment's usually the way they go. They love doing the silent treatment. and being like difficult and all huffy about everything. You don't need that in your life. If you're a good person and you're a kind, good friend, you don't need someone emotionally abusing you, because controllers can be emotionally abusive, just like a narcissist. And they sort of, I think the narcissist can be controlling, and I think a controller can have narcissistic tendencies. That's just my personal view. So good luck with that, and you could write a little list. I do that sometimes because it helps me to figure out who's on what side, and I put like the controllers to me, and then the non-controllers, and you'll find ones are very. I had a very long list there for a while. Let's kind of brought it down a bit. You'll also find that the friendships go all their way. Usually, it's always about their way and what they want, and they don't really care about how you feel. They will say they care about how you feel, but it's not what they do. And it's not what you say in life, it's actually what you do. We can say a million things to people, it's what we actually do. And they'll always put themselves first, controllers. That's what I've found. They're the ones who leave you waiting at the coffee shop when you're supposed to meet at 11 and they haven't got there till 25 past 11. They're those ones. They control many areas, and that's something I want you to look at, whether you want to be in these relationships. And if you've been dumped by them, don't feel bad. They can go and make someone else's life a misery. That's what I think. Anyhow, that's what I wanted to talk about today. There'll be a lot more podcasts coming up. I've got like a list of all these things because you obviously can tell that this has been quite an area for me. And I've actually written a book on it, but I haven't put it up online yet. I'll do that later. Okay, have a good week, and I hope you deal well with all the controllers.